Let's talk about scatter plots. Scatter plots are graphs that show the relationship between two variables. This is an example of a scatter plot showing the number of travelers, the relationship between the number of travelers and the years since 1990. Each point on the scatter plot represents a piece of data. So for example, this point right here is saying that 5 years since 1990, so in 1995, there were about 52,000 travelers. So each point represents a piece of data, and we can draw a line of best fit that generally goes through those points. It doesn't connect all the dots, but generally goes through those points. And that line of best fit then can predict the travelers in the future. So let's take a look at a couple of questions from Khan Academy that I'm going to ask you to do, where we are first on this one asked to find the slope, the rate of change of the line of best fit. So this plot shows the relationship between student scores on their first exam and their corresponding scores on their second exam. So again, each point represents a piece of data. This point here shows the score for the student on their first exam and their second exam. So when it's asking us to find the best estimate for the average change in the score between exam 2 and exam 1, the average change, that's the rate of change, they're asking for the slope. They're asking for the slope of the line of best fit. This is the full question here with the choices that they give us and the steps that I'd recommend that you follow. So the first is to do your best to draw a line of best fit. And it might not be perfect, and that's fine, just do your best. We're going to try to figure out what the slope of your line of best fit is and which of these choices is the closest to it. So our first step is to pick any 2 points on our line of best fit and what the coordinates are. So like for this point, this is over 10 up 10. That's the coordinate of that point. And then how about this point right here? This is 20, 20. I'm now going to use the slope formula here with these 2 points to find the slope. So in the numerator, it's just the difference between our y coordinates, the 20 minus 10. And in the denominator, it's the difference between the x coordinates, again, 20 minus 10. And then you just simplify that. I'm going to subtract my numerator and my denominator. If I simplify that, 10 divided by 10 is 1. So the answer would be C. Here's another one. It says Tess plants flowers every year, and she noticed that her flowers tend to bloom earlier when the spring weather is warmer. She collected data for the past 6 years on the average March temperature where she lives and the date in April her first flowers bloomed that year. A line of best fit to the data is already drawn to model that relationship. So each of those dots represents a piece of data, and they made the line of best fit. What they're asking for here is what is the equation for the line of best fit, the equation that best models this relationship. And so I put a reminder here for slope-intercept form. We just need to substitute in the slope and the y-intercept. So what is the y-intercept? It's 28. Notice each of these has a y-intercept of 28. The slope, notice the slope is going down from left to right. So we know the slope is negative. So the answer is not going to be B, and it's not going to be D. Is the slope either -1 or -2? Again, to find the slope on these, what you want to do is just pick 2 points. I'm going to pick this one here, which is over 0 up 28. And then I'm going to pick this one here, which is over 2 up 24. So now let's use these 2 points to find the slope. Remember, the top, the numerator, is the difference between our y's. So 24 minus 28, or 28 minus 24. And the denominator is the difference between our x coordinates, 0 minus 2. So So if we simplify that, we get 4 over negative 2, and 4 over negative 2, 4 divided by negative 2 is negative 2. So our slope is negative 2, and our y-intercept is 28. So the answer here is C. Now we're going to use this information to answer one more question. It says, based on this equation, let's estimate the date in April her flowers will bloom if the average temperature in March is 5.5 degrees Celsius. So March is our x-coordinate. So they want to know what is y, the date that they bloom, when x is 5.5. So we're just going to substitute in 5.5 into our equation. So y equals negative 2 times 5.5 plus 28. So always do the multiplying first. When you multiply those, you get negative 11. And when we add that to 28, we get 17. So the temperature was 17 degrees in April.